beautiful family, welcome back to my channel. On this channel I go by Anna. This channel is about love, positivity, beauty, and real life. And if you're down with that, stick around and subscribe. So this is episode number 3 of Unfiltered, and I have heard your concerns voiced in the comments section. I will try to talk faster through these videos on this series in particular, because in all of my other videos I talk fast. I'm a chatty Cathy. However, I don't know, it's the end of the day, so my brain stem is like kind of melted. So we're gonna get right into this video, and by the title you already see we are going to be talking about
Morphe.
I have to make a disclaimer that everything in this video is alleged, and everything that I speak about is already out there floating in the internet, in the ether, and there will be another disclaimer in the description box down below. So, disclaimer over with. Let's get into it. I know a lot of the majority of people are sick of hearing about Morphe. I will give my opinions about all of this at the end of this video. We are just going to take a little bit of a dive into some research that I've done, and I am going to cite everything down below in the description box, but let's get right into this. So the co-founders of Morphe are Chris and Linda Tawil. And don't drag me if I'm saying that last name incorrectly. It is T-A-W-I-L, so I'm just going to say Tawil. That is how I read it. So Chris and Linda Tawil are brother and sister. So they open up this store in Burbank, California in 2008, and it is a tiny store that only sells brushes. And Linda went around and she said in some of the articles that I read that she would go to like things like beauty shows and stuff and really try to show her brushes off and try to sell her brushes and show that she wanted her company to grow. So they started to expand and they made eyeshadows. That is how Morphe started. And it wasn't until 2013 that Linda decided to do something extremely innovative and extremely smart, which was reach out to influencers on YouTube and Instagram. And that is how her business really started to bloom. And I know that recently there has been an acquisition of sorts, and I tried to dig on that and I couldn't really find anything. The only thing that I found was that the CEO of Morphe is Miles McCormick. He's the CEO of Morphe Cosmetics and the chairman of Key Australia. So he did the whole sunglasses thing with Jaclyn Hill, you know? So he's the CEO, and Linda and Chris are the co-founders. And like I said, 2013 is when stuff really started to take off. And Jaclyn Hill was a huge part of why Morphe became so popular, because she had so many subscribers and Linda would give her her products and Jaclyn had her codes, and people started to realize that the prices were really good, and they started trying these products because Jaclyn and other influencers too, not just Jaclyn, they started to use these products on their channel. And as consumers, people were like, whoa, well, these eyeshadows are something that I can afford, you know? So people started to fall in love with Morphe. And where we're at now is Morphe is now a machine, you guys. Morphe is a machine whether you like it or not. And I'm telling you that because they are opening up stores in Canada, and they are opening up stores like monthly in every state. They just opened up a store near me about an hour away. So that is how they got started, and that is how they went from selling brushes to getting into eyeshadows. They knew that the brushes were good and everything, but they needed to add something extra. So they added the eyeshadows and they made them cheap, you know? So these influencers start talking about Morphe and it becomes the name in everybody's mouth. And it still is today. A lot of people talk about Morphe, and I am going to get into my opinions on Morphe, my personal opinions, towards the end of this video. I just kind of want this to be like a little bit educational from the research that I've done, and I just want to talk about the pros and the cons of Morphe, and let's get into that. One of the biggest pros of Morphe brushes and Morphe eyeshadow palettes are that they are affordable to most consumers. I don't want to use like any specific brand, but you know, when you have a $25 or a $35 or $38 palette compared to a $50 palette or maybe a $130 palette, you're gonna go with the cheaper palette sometimes, depending on who you are. It's all about, you know, what you like and your decisions. I buy luxury products. I like to indulge in luxury products, but I also am not made of money. So there's that. I understand why consumers started investing their money into this brand. Another pro would be that not only are these products cheap, but the influencers that we watch that have Morphe codes get us discounts, and they make their cashish too, and so does Morphe. So everybody kind of wins in the end, you know? We get our discount, the influencer gets a little bit of taco money, and Morphe gets their money and their exposure. I did want to state that Jeffree Star just came out with a Morphe collaboration, and I know that some people don't support Jeffree Star, but Jeffree Star finally has a code with Morphe. He never had a code before. He's not really into codes, but his code is J Star, and the reason that I think that it's a good idea to use his code among others right now is because the proceeds for his code are going to charity. So whether you like Jeffree or not, if you're purchasing from Morphe, I would use the code JSTAR. Just want to add that in here. So I used to use the code Jack Attack, but girl bye. Another pro is they offer synthetic and natural hair bristle brushes, which is not really like unordinary, but some brands only do synthetic and some brands only do natural. So that is definitely a pro. So the brand says that they are cruelty-free, which they are cruelty-free because they do not test on animals. However, they are not vegan friendly because they do use goat hair. So I'm going to cite something really quick, and it talks about sable hair. So sable hair is the hair that is obtained from the tail of the Kalinsky, a species of weasel rather than an actual sable. The finest brushes are made from the male hair only, but most brushes have a mix of about 60-40 male to female hair. So that's just a little statistic about, you know, natural hair brushes, because I always wonder, like, is it all just goat hair? So the goat hair is apparently shorn, meaning that the tails are cut with shears or scissors. So that is how they get the hair for the brushes, is from the end of the tail of the goat or whatever animal they're using, because I don't know about
weasels. I never heard about that. That's a little weird.
So I personally own both synthetic and natural hair bristle brushes from Morphe, because I find that the synthetic brushes are really comfortable, really smooth, really nice for the face and also for the eyes. However, The natural hair bristle brushes are really good at picking up product. Like those bad boys pick up product and they actually do blend a little bit better sometimes, I would say, in my personal opinion. So I own both from Morphe. So I want to get into the cons of Morphe in general, okay? And these are not my personal cons. These are just cons that I have researched and looked at on the internet. I want to start out by citing a Kevin James Bennett article that was written. If you do not know who Kevin James Bennett is, he is an Emmy Award winning makeup artist, and I used to think that he was against influencers, but there was, let me just say it, Lipstick Gate is when I realized that Kevin James Bennett is not, in my personal opinion, against influencers. I think that he's just looking out for everyone's general health and he knows his shit because he is an Emmy award winning makeup artist. Like, let's move on. Okay. So in this article, he talks about Morphe's products, okay? A quote from Kevin James Bennett's article is, "These palettes are manufactured overseas in China and Taiwan with extremely loose quality control. This sets off warning bells over the safety of their ingredients. You have to question the purity of the mineral pigments and the use of low-grade talc." He goes on, read the article if you guys want for yourselves to know a little bit more about that. It's actually an interesting article. I like to look at differing opinions when it comes to certain things. Now, does Kevin James Bennett pop off on Twitter every once in a while? Of course he does. But I don't know. I think he's a good dude, and the article was cool how he talks about his experience. You know, he knows the game. That's all it really comes down to. So, next, we're going to get into the people. You guys, us, me included, the consumers. The people speak. People are so sick of hearing about Morphe. All of the big influencers shoving their codes down our throats. And I get that, but if you don't like that, then you don't have to watch that influencer, and nobody is telling you that you have to buy a Morphe product. A lot of people report getting broken brushes when they are mailed to them. So they receive brushes that they've ordered online and they come and they're broken, or their bristles are falling out all over the place. And I have seen pictures. So obviously I know these people are not lying. These things happen. But you have to understand that when we're talking about products that are made in China and Taiwan, these products are mass produced. So there's going to be incidences of that. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's mass produced, there's going to be hiccups like that. But there are many complaints of that all over the internet. So I would suggest to people that live in the United States or Canada, because they are in Canada now, Morphe, and also any Ulta store sells Morphe now. At least the ones near me do. I don't know about other places, but I know that Ulta sells Morphe. So if you don't feel comfortable ordering your Morphe brushes online, I would suggest going into the store so that you can pick and choose what brushes you want, and you know that they're not falling apart and this and that. So that's just a suggestion, and I know that some people in other countries don't have Morphe stores around them. So for those people, I get your frustration. Hopefully Morphe branches out and will come to wherever you are, so you don't have to deal with these issues if you like Morphe and you're trying to get these products and you're running into issues. So my personal take on Morphe brushes. Let's get into that really quick. I am not made of money, okay? I work 2 jobs. I did not finish school. YouTube is my part-time hobby, and it's not really part-time because I post 3 days a week, but whatever. Okay, whatever. We're not talking about that. So say there's like a brush set, you know, and it's from a reputable company and it's at Ulta or Sephora, and it is $70 for this brush set. Then you go on Morphe's website, or you go into Ulta or a Morphe store and you see a brush set for $42. Or you can also buy their brushes individually. That's another like huge thing. You can buy their brushes individually. Even the brush sets that they come out with, like the Jaclyn Hill brush set, you can buy her brushes individually, and same with Jeffree Star. So I'm going to pick the brushes that are least expensive for me because I can only afford that. You know what I'm saying? So I would have to save up to buy the nicer, more luxury brand rather than just buying the Morphe brushes. Do you know what I'm saying? So I have a lot of Morphe brushes. Now, that is not to say that there are not other brush companies out there that have brushes that are really good priced, and I am going to be doing an unboxing on one of those companies very soon, and I cannot give it away, but there are other companies out there that sell brushes that are really good for cheap. But this video is about Morphe, so let's continue. Morphe to me has always been also the easiest to purchase from personally, because I have 2 Ultas that are very close to me that have Morphe sold in them. There is a Morphe store that just opened up about an hour away from me. I've only ever purchased online or purchased from Ulta. It'd be cool to go into an actual like Morphe store where it's just all Morphe products. You know what I'm saying? So also, I personally have never received a broken brush. Now, my blush brush that I have from Morphe is kind of falling apart, but you know, after so many washes, no matter what brushes you use, they're going to fall apart. They don't last a lifetime. I mean, there's some brush companies out there that, you know, say that they have like a lifetime warranty or whatever. These brushes are like $7 or $8 a piece, and if your brush breaks, buy another one. Do you know what I'm saying? For like $7 or $8, like, yeah. So when my blush brush breaks, I'm gonna just purchase another one. I've never gotten anything shipped to me that was broken. For me personally, I can't speak on that because it hasn't happened to me. I've only seen it on the internet, and obviously I'm not saying those people are lying. I totally, like I said, these things are mass produced, that stuff happens, but it hasn't ever happened to me. So I've had really good experiences with Morphe. People have had problems with customer service. I myself personally have never had problems with customer service. I had a problem making my account on morphebrushes.com, and I got an email from somebody the next day, and I was able to log into my account and, you know, live my life. So there's that. My take on Morphe eyeshadows. This is going to be a little bit different, okay? So I think that the influencer collaborations with Morphe, those eyeshadow formulas, they're different than the regularly sold palettes. Like, I have the 35F palette, the Fall into Frost palette, and it is all shimmers, and then the bottom row are mattes, and the mattes in that palette are patchy and I would say like low grade mattes. I don't really ever use those. I just use the shimmers because it's really hard to mess up a shimmer. So there's that. But the Jaclyn Hill palette, the formula is really good in that palette, right? Jeffree Star just came out with his collaboration. I am sure that the formula is going to be good. I don't think Jeffree would let Morphe put a palette out that had a bad formula. So I think that when they do these collaborations with these influencers, they use different labs. But I think for the most part, they use labs in China and Taiwan, and I'm just making an educated guess. I just feel like if it's not an influencer collaboration when it comes to the eyeshadows, it really is hit or miss. Like I said, you guys, I don't know, that's pretty much everything. I like Morphe. My favorite thing is their beauty sponges. I have not found a beauty sponge better than the Morphe Flawless Beauty Sponge and the Morphe Highlight and Contour Sponge. I just haven't. I have not. And also their Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. Girl. Oh, it smells amazing. And you don't just use it when you're done with your makeup. You can use it throughout your makeup routine. Do I like everything that they put out? No. Like I said, some of their eyeshadows, it's hit or miss, you know? But I like their brushes. I like their synthetic brushes, and I like their natural bristle brushes. I like them. I like the products that they put out. I like the collaborations that they do with influencers. I like that. I like that I can get a brush for $7. I like that I can use a code and get more of a discount. That's my personal take on it. That's my personal opinion, and I think that they did an amazing job at, you know, integrating into YouTube and getting themselves hooked up with influencers, because it made them the machine that they are today, and they're not going anywhere, you guys. So for the people that don't like Morphe, don't watch influencers that use Morphe. You know, no one is telling you to do that. No one is telling you to buy Morphe products, but that is my personal opinion on Morphe, and that's that. So that's it, you guys. That's everything. I hope that you guys enjoyed episode number 3 of Unfiltered, and I love you guys, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.